Hello, good evening, welcome to Likutey Moharan Shir. We are in Torah Chav Gimel, Tzvisa Tzadik. And basically what we said until now is that anybody that believes that Kadosh Baruch Hu can sustain him, with a minimal effort, and he doesn't run after money, to accumulate money, such a person is connected to the face of the Kedusha, the or upon him the Kedusha, which translates, which actually is life and simcha. That's what it is. And anybody who doesn't believe that Kadosh Baruch Hu can sustain him, with a minimal effort, and he's running after money with great efforts, such a person connects with the panim, the Sitra Achad, it's the face of Sitra Achad, the other side, which constitutes darkness and sadness, depression, death, and Avodah Zarah. In fact, all the Avodah Zarahs are combined in greed, in Tavis moment. We also learned in some bit that the tikkun for that is through tikkun abris, tikkun osbris kodesh. Tikkun osbris kodesh, we said, is a bechina of salt. Salt is the ultimate preservative, a very special thing. Kadosh Baruch Hu has made a covenant with salt. The salt has to be put in every single korban in the Mizbeach. So the bris is salt. And what salt does, salt represents a tzaddik, and what it does is it sweetens the bitterness that is the automatic result of this world, of parnasa. If it wasn't for salt, people wouldn't be able to stand the bitterness of this world. And this is called Bris Melach Olam. It says you should never omit the salt of the covenant of Hashem. Every korban needs salt on it. So, what is alluded to, first of all, is the Poshet Pshat. You have to put salt on every korban, including mincha, whatever it is, you have to put salt on it. And through this, you are zeiche to Elokecha. You are connecting to Hashem, and you get separated from idolatry. In the book of Job, it says, "Mibsori echazer Eloka." From my flesh, I can see. I can see a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So there are many aspects, to the reality that this pasuk represents. A person looks at the way his body operates, this pella, every single nakuda of a person's body, what a great miracle it is. So that you can see, the handiwork of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it also, Rabbeinu says, Al Pi Remez, through the bris, which is B'sar Kodesh, it's the one part of the human body in which the holiness is expressed, is the bris. Everything else is basically, neutral. There's no There's no avodah, you know, yadayim, raglayim, whatever it is, every other, whatever it is, the tzaddikim, obviously, they sanctify every single part of their body. But the bris is the most obvious expression of kedusha or chas v'chalila fakir. So when a person is zoche to tikkun bris, is he shines to himself the or pnei melachayim, the light of a living Hashem. And this is what the Gemara says, melach mamon chaser, that salt is rectifies the lack of money. What the Gemara means is that if a person has, amount of money, if he wants that amount of money will keep, what he should do is give tzedakah. Tzedakah acts like salt. Like salt prevents the meat from spoiling, salt, tzedakah, prevents your holdings from being taken away from you. He says, that melach, on one hand, when you give tzedakah, you have less money. So melach mamon chosem. By the very act of tzedakah, you are diminishing the taivas moment, the greed. Because giving tzedakah is the opposite of greed. Mashen ken, by Goyim, the Baal HaTanya says that, mentions it, that everything that they do, whatever they're going to do, kol de'ovid, legarmai ovid, they're doing for themselves. They're doing it for themselves. I remember many years ago, that hold on a second. That many years ago, Rabbi Marvin Heyer, who was he's the one who established the Wiesenthal Institute. Very choshev, a man, very smart. And I remember I went to visit him. I went to visit in his office, and he said that from Elocha people you get stuck. From those who are more far off, from that you get money. He meant it. What he meant to say is, that the people who are close, the Elocha people, they give tzedakah, they give small money. But the big money is dafka given by those who are far away from it. Well, I know that today it's no longer true that very big money is being given by Elocha people, Baruch Hashem. The world has changed in that manner because Jewish people, Baruch Hashem, have more money. And also, a lot of the mentality of the old world has changed as well. But the people who have a lot of money, who are into Taivas Momen, when they give, so comparatively they can give a lot more money than somebody who is giving tzedakah, so a regular person is giving tzedakah. But when they give great amount of money, they're not giving tzedakah, they're giving money. meaning they are buying something. They're buying self-esteem. They're buying status. They're buying covet. This is what they buy. But tzedakah says, there are various degrees in tzedakah. The highest degree of tzedakah, the most valuable tzedakah, is such a tzedakah that the giver doesn't know who the money goes to, and the receiver doesn't know who the money came from. I don't think that you can get a single wealthy person, but the goyim b'chlal, that all of this kind of tzedakah giving. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for themselves. It comes from Taivas Moment. Someone once told me, when you want to get, to get money out of a person who is very wealthy, he says, you need to scratch them where they itch. And this is something that is nagia to them. They feel shachas to this. That's, he has some kind of he likes it. There's chaim for him by that. Okay, no problem. Then money is really not an issue, because they're getting something for it that they really want. People who are very wealthy, they won't give you money if you're not giving them anything that they like in return. Now, if you give them something that they feel an affinity to, they can give you what you would consider as a lot of money. But at that point in time, they are actually buying something. When it comes to tzedakah, by and large, I'm talking about somebody who's far from Yiddishkeit, when it comes to tzedakah, the amounts diminish significantly. When it comes to, whatever it is, they can give $1 million, $100 million, whatever it is, that's sounds nagia to them. For somebody to give tzedakah, you give $1,800 is very nice and seen. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not $100 million. This is what you give to universities, to they put your name on the building. But to give it tzedakah, so $1,800 is very, very nice money. Tzedakah suddenly, so melech maman chasam. This is Siman Gimel. V'zeu v'yigaresh mipanecha oyev. He will chase before you an enemy. Mipanecha mikdusha. From which face is the Kadosh Baruch Hu going to eradicate the enemy? From your face to kedusha. V'yoyim hashmet. The full pasuk says Hashem will chase away from your face an enemy, and He will say, destroy, eradicate. So the Garash mipanecha oyev, He will chase from your face an enemy, mipanecha de kedusha. V'yoyim hashmet, and He will say hashmet, eradicate. This is a shon shmad. Shmad is avodah zarah. In other words, taivas moment. Because basically, Kol Yisrael Nikraim Tzadikim Al Shem HaBris. They're all called Tzadikim. All Bris Kodesh, they have a pchin of Or Aponim D'Kedusha. In them shines in them the Or Aponim D'Kedusha. B'shvil Zeh It says, "Shemegarash mipneim de kedusha es ha'oyev." When a Kodesh Baruch Hu chases away from their panim de kedusha, from Israel, the enemy, hu mapil oisam oivim. What he does is that he drops these enemies, these adversaries, bepanim l'sitra achram. In other words, it plunges them into greed. Hainu hashmed, shon shmad, they fall into tavas moment. Nimtza, says Rabbeinu, kol tzadik v'tzadik. This is, in other words, it's a principle. Every single tzadik. כשהקדוש ברוך הוא רוצה לגרש אויביו של הצדיק, הקדוש ברוך הוא wants to chase away the enemies of that tzaddik. ומפיל את האויב בטייבס מומן. He makes that enemy fall into greed. Why does this work like this? It says, כי הצדיק הוא בריס אוילום. The tzaddik is, why is he a tzaddik? What makes him a tzaddik? Why is he called a tzaddik? Because he was zeicher to perfect the Shmiras HaBris. Poshat. There it says, Man nikra tzaddik. Who is called a tzaddik? Man denot bris. Somebody who is keeping the sanctity, of his bris. And since a tzaddik is somebody who is zeicher to the bris perfectly, he's zeicher to panim or upon him perfectly. V'zeh ha'oyev shel tzaddik, and that enemy of the tzaddik, shechoylek al tzaddik, that disputes the tzaddik, goes against the tzaddik, ein lo melach, he doesn't have salt. Lahamtik miriusei. He lacks the salt to sweeten the bitterness of his life. Ki melach momon chaser. Because how do you eradicate tavas momon? Through melach, through bris, through a tzaddik. Ki ikra tavas momon shenismat eino ela aladei bris. The main tavas moment that is diminishing, it only happens through the Shmiras HaBris. Person's holding of the tzaddik is pchinas bris, is pchinas melach. No, his enemy falls into greed. Bishvil zeh zvulun, that's why zvulun, that loved Issachar, she'ohev Issachar, which is the tzaddik. Nema boy, it says in him, Zvulun was a merchant, he was a businessman. He was the quintessential businessman. Nehemar bo smach Zvulun. Zvulun, be sameach, be happy. Smach. Hefech b'itzoron, the opposite of itzoron. Amish Zvulun was zeichet or upon him. The pchit simcha. Businessman. Sava smoches es panecha. He says, when does a person, a businessman, can be zoicher to full-fledged simcha? When it's es panecha. The tzaddik is zoicher to arapanim shlemus. Somebody who loves the tzaddik and nullifies himself to the tzaddik, before the tzaddik, he's zoicher to receive from him also an illumination of arapanim. And therefore he's zoicher to be mevatel for himself to have his moment. Then he becomes what we call tamche yoraisa. It says vave amudim. That's the base of the amudim. The amudim are standing on the base, and this is tamche yoraisa. That's the thing that actually keeps the Torah. So it doesn't even matter at that particular point in time how much money he has, how much money he doesn't have. He's a person, Baruch Hashem, he has a lot of money, Baruch Hashem, wonderful. But he's bottled to tzaddikim. All his money is subservient to the cause of Torah and tzaddikim. Mimele, the money that he has, he's a good businessman, Baruch Hashem, he has mazel, he has a lot of money, Baruch Hashem, gesundheit. He doesn't become depressed from this. Legabe, that particular principle of when a tzaddik has an enemy, and that enemy now lacks the salt to sweeten the bitterness of life, is a very, very common occurrence. Not just, with anybody is cholak on a tzaddik. But, we spoke some time ago about people going through midlife crisis. When people are going wild, or people are doing something which is wrong, and by and large, the going off kilter that people do sometimes when they face a midlife crisis. What happens is that before they do what they do, it seems like whatever it is that they have is so flawed. I don't know, their wives, their husbands, whatever it is, their way, Yiddishkeit, whatever, is so flawed, so unsatisfactory, and they get this dimion, which this is the Yetzer Hara. They get this dimion that, if I were only to chuck this woman, or this man, or this, whatever it is, or Yiddishkeit, whatever it is, or the tzaddik away, man, it's going to be so wonderful. I'm going to have the life I quote unquote deserve. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to work, all in quote unquote. I'm allowed to feel free. I'm allowed to feel young. I'm allowed to feel blah, 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 whatever. But what they don't reckon, what they don't count on, is they see only their dissatisfaction with the current condition, and they imagine these dissatisfactions not existing in whatever it is that they're going to. But what they don't see the good in their condition. That they take for granted. What do you mean? Obviously, my wife cleans the house. Obviously, she cooks the food. Obviously, it's like duh. You're supposed to do that. Anyone can do that. Keeps the house clean, whatever it is. Whatever it is, she puts me online. When I'm getting b'shtickle wild, whatever it is. So she's whatever it is, and sometimes but I only see that she's doing it. Insensitively, whatever the taina might be, it doesn't matter. This is something I can't get used to. I deserve better. I want somebody who will accept me the way I am, whatever the dimion goes. But what they don't realize, that the minute that they let go of the wife or the husband or Yiddishkeit, whatever it is, chasing dreams of quote unquote fame and fortune, whatever headline they might put on the life that they're chasing, what happens to them is they plunge into a life of bitterness. They don't have the salt anymore. So what they have instead of what they had is a life of extraordinary bitterness. Yeah, in the beginning it looks cool, it looks this, looks that, whatever it is, all kinds of opportunities open up, ba-boo. After a while, for some quicker than others, all depends how Yerushalayim they are. The more Yerushalayim they are, it happens quicker. They realize, what on earth am I doing? What did I do? What did I do? At that point in time, what they do is they take that bitterness that they now experience and they blame it on either their spouses or ex-spouses or the Yiddishkeit, whatever it is, or their parents, whatever it is. It is always somebody else's fault. It is never their fault. And they become more bitter and more bitter, and they become greater and greater adversary, and it keeps on, becomes like it's snowball. When Rochav in Yericho, she asked for a sign of life. Why? You know, the Meraglim that Yeshua bin Nun sent, they came to Yericho, and they came to her house. She had a hotel, and amongst other things. And she said she recognized them. And she hid them. The people of the king of Jericho came to her and told her, you know, where the men that came to stay with you, you know, the spies. So she hid them. And when after she sent so she subterfuged for them. She said they came and they went up to the mountains, whatever it is, chased them, you'll find them, whatever it is. Then she came to the Meraglim. And she said, you know, I saved you, whatever it is, I know that you're going to conquer Eretz Yisrael. And he said, only thing I'm asking from you, is that you give me a sign of life, that you would save me and my mother and my father and my family. So she asked them to give her a simon that through which she will not die when the Jews will conquer Yericho. So what she told them? She said, "V'nosamtem ois emes," and you will give me a true sign, a sign of truth. And what's implied with this? Ki emes obchinas chaim. Emes is the union of chaim. Emes is Or Panim. It's the light of the Panim of Kadosh Baruch Hu. And Or Panim of Kadosh Baruch Hu is Chaim, is life. It says, Ba'or Pnei Melech Chaim. You know, in the light of the face of the king is life. And that's why she wanted to be Zoiche to life. So she won't die when all the people of Yericho will die. So this is what she told them. And they answer her, he says, the hope of the crimson string tie, you know, to your window. What's alluded to in this? Tikva, what is tikva? What is hope? Tikva is emunah. You believe. You have hope. You believe that a good thing happened. Tikva, because tikva is, what is tikva? That at the end, things will be okay. I hope that everything will turn out fine. It's P'chinas Emunah. Tikva is the end, the achris. K'mo shekosov, v'yesh tikva l'acharisech. You know, there is a tikva, there is a hope to your end, to your goal. Ve'emunah, emunah constitutes P'chinas achris yomim. The emunah is the very base of all the days. Achris yomim. Achris yomim simply means the end of days. You know, what the days are leading to. But it also means, you know, b'Kabbalah, b'Chasidus, that the Yomim are the Midos. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod Yesod. They are all standing on the Malchus. The Malchus is the last sphere. It's called Achris. That's the last one. So Achrisram ki alea omdim kol midos. All the midos are standing on this one midah of Malchus. Which word is it? It's Emunah. K'mo Chazal said, you know, that they said, what are the principles of Emunah? The Navi says 11. you know, and David the Melech said 7. It says, Ba Chavakuk came, said, the entire mitzvah proposed al achas are all standing on one principle. The Tzadik be'emunoso yichyeh. And Tzadik lives in his emunah. Emunah is the main thing. That's the basis upon which everything rests, and all the good midos rests on it. Because the emunah is the last of all the midos. It's achrus emet. And it's only through through the midah of emes you can be zeicha to all the midas that are above it. The midas, you know how we said before. We said the midas are the days. You know, the days of the week, and there's 7 midas. Since the tikva is achris, yesh tikva lachirisech. There's hope to your end. Tikva to the last sphere, which is the malchus, which is emunah. Achris is emunah. So you see that tikva, hope, and emunah are actually the same thing. Okay, so what is v'chut hashani? Tikvas, okay, we understand, that's emunah. Tikvas chus hashani, the hope of the crimson yarn. What is a crimson yarn? What does it come to say? Chut hashani is a b'chinas zrichas orapanim. This is the shining of the light of the face. How do we know that? Moshe Kosov, when Tamar, the wife of Yehuda, you know, when she gave birth, you know, so the first child that put his hand out, the midwife tied a crimson yarn on that baby's hand, and the baby returned the hand in, and his brother came out first. So the first one that came out, that burst out, he got the name Peretz. Ma paratza lecha Peretz. Peretz, you burst. He's a burst. The second one, who had the red bindle, the red yarn on his wrist, Vayikra Shmo Zorach. It's called Zorach. Zorach is shining. A shiner. He's somebody who shines. He's called Zorach. Why? Because of the illumination of the crimson yarn that was on his hand. So we see here that crimson yarn is equated to the illumination Zrichas Or, the shining of a light. It calls the name is Zorach, shining. Et alludes to Zrichas Or upon him, the shining of Or upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is what the messengers of Yeshua said to Rachel, that she must have emunah, and through the emunah she says, give me a sign of truth. Okay, so they told her, okay, no problem. You have to be zoiche to emunah, and through the emunah you'll be zoiche to emes, which is Or upon him, and Or upon him is life. The Or Pnei Melachim, in the light of the face of the king, is life. And through this, she will be zoiche to live when Am Yisrael are going to conquer Yericho. Everything here is, every single word denotes secrets within secrets within secrets. And this is what it says: Ki choshech yichaseh eretz, for darkness shall cover earth. V'alayich yizrach Hashem, and upon you Hashem will shine. It says that's Yeshaya. So it says in this pasuk, this principle is embedded. Ki choshech ubchinas itzava. Choshech means in sorrow, in anguish. Dago, the teva is a parnasa, that's worrying, and the teva for parnasa. Shutzar kiflaim ki aleido. This is twice as difficult as the tsar of a woman who's giving birth. Anpin chashuchen, that's a darkened face. Avodah zarah. This is the darkness that covers the goyim. That are totally far from the holiness of the covenant. V'alayich yizach Hashem. But upon you Hashem will shine. So I call tzaddikim because they have a bris. Da zechet to emunah salakus. Da zechet to emunah to Kadosh Baruch Hu, which constitutes the light of the panim. V'yibchinas v'yichem pnei ha'ir, as Yaakov parked the face of the town, which is Shem. Tikkun HaMatbea, the fixing off the currency, which is Tikkun Taibas Monim. That's the rectification of Taibas Monim. The result is Simcha, Smach Zvulun. Okay? The one thing that I want to mention over here is that to summarize this in a way that, besides the obvious things that Rabbeinu says, that a person needs to daven a lot to be saved from Taivas Mammon and to have emunas tzaddikim and to be shomer bris. All these three things. And the way to be shomer bris is to eradicate anything and everything that brings to mind licentious thoughts. How much more so not to look at things that bring to thoughts. Not to say, not to use foul language, chas v'chalila. And obviously not to do things that shouldn't be done. This is Nina Shmir Sabitz. Skavos to tzaddikim. Obviously, you need to learn their Torah. You need to do what they say. Whatever they say, you do. Take your mind, put it aside. And let go. Let go of it. Just trust the tzaddikim. What does it mean, trust the tzaddikim? First of all, trust that they really are tzaddikim. Secondly, you should have emunah that even though you don't know what's pshat a tzaddik, it's not something that you can quantify, but you know and believe that this is something else. Inyan achar legamri, a different thing. What? You can't define what a tzaddik is, because the quality that a tzaddik has is godliness. And the Baal HaTanya says you cannot touch, figure out, understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your mind any more than you can put your hand into your head and touch a thought. It's not even different species. It's not different species. It's not even different phylum. It's a total different Indian. There's domem, there's the inanimate, there's tzavech, there's the plant world, there's chai, which is the animal world. There's medaber, a person that can speak. So it's a totally different medaber. Medaber is the tachlis of all the nefashos. The Rebbe says in last week's parsha about the korbanos, the kosher behemoths, So the kosher behemoths are those that chew their cud and split their hooves, which means that the physical attributes of the animals, the fact that they're chewing their cud and splitting their hooves, is representing a very deep spiritual condition. It means that the nefashos that are originally, they are incarnated in the inanimate, and they are being consumed by the plants, minerals, and whatever it is that the plants take out of the inanimate. And from there, the animals eat them. They eat the grass. And so the nefashos are transferred from grass from plant level to living level. Their goal is to be medaber. Their goal is to be able to speak, to make that quantum leap into being a human being. And the thing is that as long as they haven't reached their destination, they're going up and down and up and down. This principle, this spiritual principle, is expressed with the nature of a kosher behemoth to chew its cud. The food goes down and then it goes up again to be chewed again and swallowed down again. This signifies the ratzov hashov, the back and forth state, the restless state of the neshamos, the nefashos that are waiting for that animal to be shechted b'kedusha, to be consumed b'kedusha, so that it can become a medaber. That's why it comes to their mouth, so they can chew it again. It's remez that they need to end up as medaber. The fact that their hoofs are split, that is because there's light that comes out from between their hoofs, and that particular light signifies that basically they are, the kosher behemoths or animals are basically a transit port. They are not an end. They are not a dead end. Dead end are non-kosher behemoths that when they eat, the nefashos end up with them. The light does not count because the hoof is closed. It means that these behemoths don't have an opening to get up. That the nefashos cannot end up to be a medaber. Kal v'chomer that they are not chewing their cud. The only animal that is a faker, the biggest faker of all the animals, is the pig. The pig has split hoofs. He shows everybody, I'm hollow from end to end, no problem. Whatever it is that comes through me can end up human consumption, become a dabar, no problem. But we know it doesn't chew its cud. Anybody that falters in it never ends up, with the final tikkun. And here we're talking about in the Balat, I don't know who of the Chabad Rebbe that say this particular Indian, but they said that the Indian of above the Medaber is a Madrega of Navi, of prophet. I don't know who says it, I don't know where it says it, but this is what I heard, Vishem, one of the Chabad Rebbeim, that the level of prophet is as exalted. It's a quantum leap from the existence of a person, of a medaber, a regular medaber, commensurately with as much as a medaber, regular person, is beyond the animal world. In other words, an immense quantum leap. So how can you describe it? We don't have any ways of describing, the quality of tzaddikim. I find it. Uh, we spoke about it. Chaim Kanievsky, the New York Times said they brought that he remembered the entire Torah, whatever it is, and he knew how many times there's Moshe in the Torah, whatever it is. And we said any computer can do this. This is but you can't. A goy cannot quantify a tzaddik. There's no way. So first of all, a person needs to believe in the concept of a tzaddik, b'chlal, and believe that tzaddik is actually a tzaddik. Because it is possible to know, to understand in your mind that the tzaddik is actually a tzaddik, and you still don't believe. You still have a kind of like, maybe he's a faker, He's saying these really complicated things, so people think that he's a tzaddik, whatever it is, but he's not really a tzaddik. There are two things about this. The tzaddik that you have such a suffix about, in your mind you know that he's a tzaddik emes, and in your heart you doubt him. That means A, that he is a tzaddik emes, and B, the problem is because you have not yet cleaned yourself. You're not cleansed yourself yet. He is the tzaddik. He is the tzaddik that you need to get close to. And how will you know that you have cleansed yourself? When you finally get the emunah in him. When you finally believe in him in all your heart. You know already that he's a tzaddik. You can see already. But your heart refuses to believe. Maybe he's a fake, I don't know. Maybe. The tzaddikim that are not crucial, that are not vital to you, you have no problem of believing that they're tzaddikim. None. Yeah, tzaddikim, madregas, whatever you want. The tzaddik upon which your tikkun depends on, your heart says, maybe. That's a simon. That's a simon that my mind has been befuddled. My mind has been contaminated. And that's the tzaddik I should get close to. Hashem should help us. B'ezrat Hashem. Tomorrow night we'll be learning in the Bresel V'Smeder Shemit Hashem, the Gevaldige Torah Memtes, and so again, we will continue